The saints. Every church is named after one. You might have your patron saint of this, your patron saint of that. You've seen candles with little saints on them. But who are these people? Why do I need them? How do they make my life better? Here to talk to us is Scott Hefelfinger, composer, coffee aficionado, great philosopher and professor at the Augustine Institute, and personal friend. So there's a big part of Catholic devotional life that has everything to do with the saints. What's the deal? Why not just go straight to God? Why do we need saints?
Sometimes I tell my students, the saints give us the best answer to the question, what would Jesus do? And that throws them off for a minute because it's like saints, Jesus. But of course we want to know, what would Jesus do? But when we look at the Gospels, we say, well, how do I know how much I should be looking at my iPhone? What would Jesus do? He'd cast a demon out of it, And so the saints in a way bring Jesus closer to us. They're living out his virtues. They're living a life conformed to his. And in all these different states of life, we have married saints, religious saints, single saints, priests. And so when we have questions about, what does it mean to be a father? You've got a saint for that, And
That's
so
awesome.
This treasure trove of Christian experience that we can turn to.
What's holiness look like in this situation?
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. It's like the I've heard the analogy with the moon. You could look at the light of the sun when it's bouncing off the moon. You look straight at the sun, it's going to fry your eyes out, right? So we see the light of Jesus shining off all these people's lives and get a greater insight into how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to follow in our lives.
Yeah, I like that. I sometimes talk about like a gemstone that refracts the light of Christ, because you get these different facets and colors and hues, and different saints kind of model or bring that out in a way that really can strike us, at a moment in our life or in a certain vocation. So.
Oh, that analogy makes my day.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Think about that. Heaven will be more beautiful because of all of us there, right? Because the light of God will shine into us and refract out of us in all these different ways. And
when I think of heaven and all the saints, you're friends with the saints as you walk through life. So, how are they helpful to us? Well, they're inspirational for us. They're friends that we can turn to.
Firstly, inspirational. How do I get inspired by the saints? Where do I go to look for stuff on the saints that's good?
Well, you can find stuff on certain websites. They want to be reliable ones.
Yeah.
You also find books on the saints. Some of them have great writing. So St. Therese of Lisieux has a very popular autobiography called The Story of a Soul. And that can be great material for meditation and to get to know a saint as a friend. Other saints have writings too that you can explore.
Beautiful. So we get inspired by them and read their stuff. What about an active friendship with them now? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, I think you look at their life. You can look at their writings. You look at the way that they model Christ, and as that changes your mind and your heart, you start to see things in a way as the saint saw things. And that's the beginning of a kind of accompaniment or friendship with the saint. And then they're also helpful because we ask them to pray for us. They're our friends in prayer as well. They can support us because they, if I pray to a saint who is married, like the parents of St. Therese of Lisieux, they can understand my experience and offer up special prayers asking God to help me.
And one of the things about the saints that strikes me, they're not to be these unapproachable figures, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of them had all sorts of stuff they struggled with. They were far from perfect, just like us. I mean, the message of the saints is that we're supposed to become them.
Right.
So how do we become saints?
Yeah, sometimes I think we see these little holy cards or devotional cards, and the saints can look so otherworldly.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're actually really relatable.
Yeah.
And so when we look at them, a saint is sometimes defined as someone who manifested heroic virtue. And so
they weren't necessarily perfect, they strove for that.
That's right.
But heroic virtue has to be shown in their life.
And they've gone through so many different things, often great, great suffering. We see that in the martyrs, but also more recently, like St. Teresa of Calcutta. She lived in spiritual darkness for so much of her life.
She didn't feel God's
Exactly.
presence. It wasn't easy for her to pray.
That's right. She remained faithful. She manifested and shone out joy and love, but within her own interior life, God was sort of hiding to increase and draw her ever closer towards him, which is powerful, but hard, right?
Yeah.
So when we see that, I think we can become like them by when we have those moments of darkness or suffering, maybe not of quite the same magnitude or order as St. Teresa of Calcutta, Mother Teresa, but when we have that, we can look to them to inspire us and to give us some indications of what ought I to do? How ought I to act? Well, I should keep on loving. I should keep on believing. I should keep on striving. So
they're lighthouses.
That way we become like them.
Yeah, in little storms of life, they're lighting the way for us to heaven.
Oh yeah.
People who die in Jesus Christ are alive and well. They're still here to inspire us, to give us the example of their lives when we read about them or read their writings, but maybe above all, to pray for us. Just like you'd ask someone sitting next to you to pray for you, well, the saints are next to us still, cheering us on our way to heaven. Let's lean on them, man, because I'll take all the help I can get.